Well, I did not expect to have so much fun, so much luck, and so much damage with this build. It's not millions of damage, but I did clear tier 15 maps, no problems. Also, I did tier 15 Elder and his Guardians. I did Guardians without dying, but Elder was a bit trickier, and overall this build is just a big surprise to me. I'm not really used to sort of fast dodge evasion builds, and I thought I'm gonna hate relying all my survivability on dodge, evasion, and just leech, but actually I really love it. And currently without flask I do have 64 attack dodge and 53 spell dodge, and on top I have 6000 evasion. And despite having only less than 5000 life, it does feel sort of tanky. I did face tank tier 15 Elder's Guardians, well, for the most part, and mostly I just face tank map bosses as well, of course avoiding more dangerous attacks. Damage wise, Spectral Throw is a bit tricky because tooltip DPS is not very reliable. You throw it, you hit once, then projectile returns and often hits 2 more times, so it often hits 3 times. Maybe it hits more with slower projectiles, I'm not sure. And currently in Path of Building it shows 200,000 total DPS. That is per 1 hit, and that is against standard bosses. Also, this is level 86 Scion Raider Slayer. I will most likely keep playing it, keep leveling a bit more, and then attempt Shaper's Guardians. And maybe even Shaper himself. Probably not. We'll see. But I just wanted to make this build guide video and show you basically the end result of this build. Most likely I'm not gonna be upgrading my items because there isn't much that I could upgrade. At least not this late in the league when the trading is very stale. Also, this isn't a cheap build, but there are alternative items that could be used. Some may even give more damage than I currently have, but may have to sacrifice life or resistances. Also, next league Abyssal Jewels and Stygian belts will be harder to obtain, but the build could still work. I want to show more gameplay footage, so I'm gonna talk about items, skills and links while showing more interesting gameplay footage. So this is a build around White Wind Dagger. It has a lot of flat cold damage, attack speed, and also evasion, and if you have no shield or a second weapon, you also get 20% chance to dodge attacks and 100% increase cold damage. It doesn't have the best crit chance, so I'm not going for crit version, and instead I took Elemental Overload. But I'm gonna talk about passive skill tree a bit later. Also, I wanted to make a strong dodge build, so I am trying to get as much attack dodge and spell dodge as I can. And you don't really need to worry too much about attack dodge because it is pretty easy to cap it, which is capped at 75%, but for spell dodge you either need certain uniques or you need to use essence to craft spell dodge on your boots and armor. And if you're gonna use uniques to get spell dodge, you're probably not gonna get very good resistances, so I chose to essence craft my items. And here's what I have for my armor and boots. If you could balance your resistances and properly overcap, then there are a couple options that you could use. For example, here is Air Zodiac Leather Armor, Atziri Step Boots, or Snowblind Grace Body Armor, or even 3 Step Assault Boots. Or if you're going for more crit version, you could also use Oscarm Unique Gloves. There is also a unique amulet called Hinakora's Sight. It gives 1000 accuracy, which is really needed, and up to 10% dodge attacks and spells, and you cannot be blinded. But this amulet is very overpriced because it can be only obtained by enemies spawned by prophecies, and you can no longer obtain it from prophecy chain. I was gonna buy that amulet, but I couldn't balance my resistances properly, so it is kind of difficult. And for now I'm just using some crappy amulet which has resistances that I need, basically, that's all. For my gloves I am using 2-socket Tombfist, but I think it may even be better to use rare gloves with a lot of accuracy, life and resistances. Maybe a bit of attack speed or flat cold damage to attacks. Most likely would lose a bit of damage, but it would be easier to properly manage your resistances. Helmet, I keep using this helmet for many of my builds that I crafted early on in the league, and I do use this helmet for my clear speed Spectral Throw setup, because I do have 2 Spectral Throw setups, one for single target and one for clear speed. I would not expect you to craft this kind of helmet, but there are different ways to get the second clear speed setup. For example, you could use Elder Gloves with faster attacks and additional accuracy, or just faster attacks, and use it for your clear speed setup. Next, belt. I am using Stygian belt basically with a lot of life, some resistances and elemental damage with attack skills. As you can see, this belt is pretty simple and doesn't have anything fancy and doesn't even have good rolls. Well, besides life. But you could use non-Stygian belt like leather belt probably would work the best. Just try to get more elemental damage with attacks. Now, rings are a bit trickier. One ring is just pretty simple, just generic life, resistances that I need and elemental damage with attacks. Could also use accuracy or flat, cold damage to attacks. And another ring I had to craft myself to get Poacher's Mark on hit. I specifically needed more cold resistances because of Wise Oak and because I'm doing basically only cold damage, so I needed to balance my resistances. And I also got quite mediocre life roll and well, other rolls. But the reason I crafted this is because I do have mana issues. And the only way to get more mana leech rate per second is to increase your maximum mana, set a node on passive skill tree to get more mana leech per second, or maybe get a lot more regen, or to get mana gain on hit. So Poacher's Mark gives mana gain on hit, life gain on hit, and also reduces enemy evasion, basically increasing my accuracy. And also it allows me for easier frenzy charge generation while mapping. However, I still use Blood Rage because it gives attack speed. And lastly, let me quickly talk about jewels. I am mostly using abyssal jewels. Flat cold damage to attacks and cold damage to daggers gives the most damage, combined with flat life and one of the abyssal jewels with blind on hit. And lastly, I am using Watcher's Eye, which gives me spell dodge while I'm affected by haste. It is not required and you could probably get more spell dodge with our items, but in my setup I just wanted as much spell dodge as possible. Now, skills and links. This build is kind of starving of sockets because I do use 2 skill setups, so I could not squeeze in all the things that I wanted. So the main setup in my armor is Spectral Throw with added cold damage, faster attacks, elemental damage with attacks, slower projectiles and elemental focus. I don't really like how slower projectiles makes the build feel very clunky and you have to be right in the face of your enemies, but it does give a lot of damage. And since projectiles start returning faster, they start ramping up the damage faster. Also, elemental focus could probably be replaced with something and you would still maintain the ability to chill and freeze enemies, probably making it a bit safer to play against bosses. But YOLO, I just wanted more damage. Second skill setup in my helmet is Spectral Throw, elemental damage with attacks, added cold damage and greater multiple projectiles. And my helmet has 30% more elemental damage and hypothermia. It is basically a pseudo 6-link helmet. You could probably get away by just using hypothermia helmet. If you could get it along with accuracy mod, it may be just enough. Next, in my boots I am using whirling blades with faster attacks, fortify and ancestral protector. Normally you would link your whirling blades with blood magic, but I have no room for that. And I don't want to get rid of ancestral protector, which by the way you can't really max out because you probably won't have enough strength, so my current ancestral protector is only level 16 and it does give a massive amount of attack speed. Since I already have one curse, I can't really use another curse, so I am using Frost Bomb, which I think works even better than a curse because you can use it even against enemies that are hex proof. And high endgame bosses have very high resistance to curses, but they do not have resistance against Frostbomb. So why it is pulsating? Is that a word? It reduces enemy cold resistance, increasing your damage. And then I have Blood Rage for attack speed and Haste for attack movement speed, and also because I have Watcher's Eye that increases my spell dodge while I'm affected by haste. But if you don't have that Watcher's Eye and have mana issues, can get Poacher's Mark on hit, you could use just Clarity and maybe use like a Frostbite curse or Elemental Weakness. Then for a lot more damage I do have Herald of Ice, but you need quality Herald of Ice because it globally increases cold damage. Well, you don't really need it, but it is a damage boost, and every tiny damage boost just adds up into a bigger damage boost. And lastly I do have Valgrace, which I sometimes forget to pop, but using it basically caps your spell dodge and attack dodge. It would be better to link it with increased duration for longer duration and maybe if you have less dodge, but I really don't have sockets for that. And lastly I want to talk about passive skill tree and maybe just show you how I manage my build. So like I said, I started with Scion because I wanted to go for Raider, because you can still maintain frenzy charges against bosses, and Slayer because of Leech. Your Leech is not removed on full life, which is, I think, is very good, and also it does give a lot of damage against unique enemies, rare and unique enemies, which is what you need mostly. So let's ignore that for now. I actually started from here, grabbing a bit attack speed, grabbing a bit life, and then traveling here near the shadow and ranger area. Picked of course jewel socket, picked a bit more life, picked elemental damage with attacks if you need intelligence, maybe strength. Then travel down here to grab these fast. Traveling down, grabbing jewel socket. Did not take frenzy charge, only took it much later on. Then more down, life, elemental damage of attacks. This one is also pretty strong because it gives 5% elemental penetration. Then grabbing more damage, cold damage, projectile speed, which is you need it. I first also had that one for more projectile speed, but later on I just dropped it because I had to refund a lot of things. Traveling down, I think I did not take that for a very long time. Yeah, probably just went left, grabbed leech, grabbed mana leech, then traveled up here, grabbed a bit more life, grabbed these to connect to duelist area. Then of course a bit more life, another jewel socket. More damage, this one also very important because it gives 8% cold penetration. Then point blank. Then after I did overlap, I connected this point and I had to refund basically all this area. I even took this path to get more life and accuracy and attack speed. Wait, not accuracy, just attack speed. But I had to refund all this part, including these nodes and all this part along with that, so that I was able to travel all the way here, grabbing more life to grab elemental overload, which gives a lot of damage. And because this is sort of good, it's not the best crit base, but 6.3 crit chance on a base, and I do have what 9.7 crit chance, which is of course reduced by my low hit chance, but it does trigger quite reliably without any other methods. So just throw it and you have it almost all the time. And then just travel down here to grab more life, elemental damage resistances, which I kind of need, and more elemental damage with attacks. But actually I should refund this and I should refund that and get accuracy and attack speed. These three would give more damage. Even one this would give more damage than this currently for me. But I was initially planning to grab more life, but I really don't feel like I need more life. I either get one-shotted no matter what, or I manage to dodge and survive somehow. So I think I'm not gonna get more life. I'm gonna refund this, and the rest points will go into these. And if I feel like I need more life, I could just grab one down here, one down here, and maybe another here and here. So yeah, but that's quite far away. I was planning to get wall pack, but I decided to not go with wall pack because blood rage kind of drains life and doesn't feel very good without any regen. And of course point blank because it gives a lot of damage. So the playstyle is kind of quick and agile and fast, but since I don't have blood magic for my willing blades, I do need to be aware of my mana. And for example, let's say you there is a boss, you drop frost bomb, you drop protector, you keep dodging it, you keep attacking. If you miss a couple attacks, you basically run out of mana, and you may not have enough mana for willing blades. So you need to be aware of your mana, but if you can hit something, you kind of need to be very close. Then it should be fine. Also, my mana, my flask, which I forgot to mention, is I should probably have instant life flask. I do have another instant freeze removal, but bleed removal with some regen. I mean not regen, but not instant. Also wise oak, because I manage my resistances to have cold resistance the most, which means wise oak gives me 15% cold penetration. Then quartz flask to give me dodge. Here's my dodge, 64, 53. If I pop quartz, it goes to 74, 63. So almost capped attack dodge and very good spell dodge. And that is without Wild Grace, which only lasts 6 seconds, by the way. And then I have Atziri's Promise, which also gives a lot of damage. Another thing that I forgot to mention. Raider Ascendancy node says you have Onslaught while on full frenzy charges, but in the buff bar it does not show when you have Onslaught, but you do get Onslaught when you get full frenzy charges. So yeah, so I really enjoyed this build, and I will most likely continue playing it. I will probably attempt Shaper's Guardians. I still need, like, let's say 2 levels. Then I will get these. I'm gonna refund that thing and attempt Shaper's Guardians, and maybe Shaper himself. I don't know, we'll see. I do have quite bad accuracy right now, but Portia's Mark helps a bit, which is also not displayed in the tooltip. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, that's all. For my next build, I don't know when it's gonna be, but it's most likely gonna be an Arc Trickster. Very fast, good clear speed, but not for single target, of course. So, but we'll see. It's most likely gonna be a bit expensive, so I don't know. I still want to play this build, so yeah, we'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching, and see you next time.